It started getting pretty
Pretty dim?
yeah, and it's a little, it just got different. I don't know, what do you think? It's too early to change it? Okay, I don't know. It's whatever you think.
Maybe I can turn on the other room?
Yeah, turn on the other one, maybe.
Hi. What's up, everyone? Couple last minute technical adjustments. Hi, welcome. Big gang. Friends, family, colleagues, peers, internet. Welcome to our questionably biennial graduation ceremony. Quantifiably, I'm not sure how many there are, but there have been many. It has been a quick adjustment. I want to take off my mask if anybody doesn't mind. Our speakers will probably be demasking, if that's all right. For clarity. It has been a long 9 days and fast 9 days. Everybody working feverishly, instructors and students alike and staff alike. It is a wonderful program that we're a part of, and I don't know, there's something about the sort of busyness that that this ceremony is a nice sort of unpacking or readjusting to what am I trying to say? I feel like there's something special about the ceremony. We all love ceremonies. I'll stop it at there. We'll have a few speakers this evening, and just a brief schedule. We are doing graduation, and then at 7 o'clock is a dinner up here at Holman. The driveway is decluttered. We should be free from that. If anybody's got a 1983 Silica, they need to move it. I'm just kidding. And then we will, after we have dinner, we'll proceed down to the thesis exhibition of Mary Jeys and Sarah Logan down at the Tahoe Gallery at 8 p.m. So we'll all meet there after we've enjoyed our meal. And then following that schedule, or following a reception there at the gallery, we will be free to move about the campus where there is an exhibition in the garage door gallery downstairs of the Midway students, which we saw last night. There's also an exhibition of the cohort of 1, 2, and 4 in the tent space, which is in the sort of quad area. 1 and 2 space. Oh yeah, 1 and 2, just 1 and 2, in the quad area of campus next to the dorms, and between the library and the dorms. There's a wonderful show of work that was made just this week. If anybody hasn't seen it yet, it's very, very cool. And then there's also a pop-up exhibition in the driveway in the Airstream trailer, the MFA-IA Airstream trailer, Constellations from my class, which is a focus studio practice of just about half of everybody. So just a kind of quick timeline of the events tonight. Before we get started, I'll note that we are working and studying on Washoe lands. Washoe people have lived here for countless centuries, stewarding the land and continue to do so. And it's a privilege that we get to work and experience such a wonderful place. That being said, I think I might introduce our director, Russell Dudley, to speak about. Cool. Thank you all.
That's tall. Thanks, Austin. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is our 10th graduation and 14th residency. But it's just really crazy, cool, and beautiful. And all of you, the entire community, for your participation in the program, your energy, your brilliance, and also for the folks that are supporting the people in the program and keeping them kind of on their toes and as comfortable as can be. So, what I want to do right now is to introduce Ashley. Ashley, yeah, it's quick. Ashley's. I could go on. I will go on about the degree of the point later, but I just think I think our stuff is fine. I'm sort of looking at the crowd and I'm like, you've listened to me, so I think pointing towards the support crew is what I want to do at this point. But Ashley has been with us for at least 7 or 8 residencies, a long time. She's a cultural worker and writer, as you know, who's done tons of exhibitions up and down the West Coast. It's so great to have Ashley's voice in our program, in our mentoring, in the spaces in between. It's just great. I'm so thrilled that we made your acquaintance and that you joined the program and continue to come back and work in it and with everybody. So with that, Ashley.
This mic is just going to get lower and lower and lower. Cool. Yeah. That is so sad. It's like the lowest it possibly goes. That's cool. All right. So when I was asked to talk a little bit at graduation, I was like, oh hell, like what is it? What do I have to say to folks going out into the world after graduation? So what I decided to do was there's this wonderful sort of compendium of advice that was put together a few years ago by this artist that I love and respect named Stephanie Sujuko. And I wanted to read a couple of my favorite things in there. The advice ranges from serious to funny, but it's all pretty good. And then I wanted to conclude with some of my own advice. The first thing up, marry rich, like your grandmother suggested. Get used to eating canned tuna or peanut butter sandwiches. Create relationships with your peers and professors. Be kind, be humble, be unapologetic, work hard. Be genuinely happy for and celebrate the success of your peers. Know when it's time to keep going and time to move on to another body of work. Don't be too precious. Perhaps your favorite piece no longer fits with your body of work. Make stuff every day. Work for older artists and learn from them. Listen. Learn to work in radio silence. Have conversations with other artists. Leave the house. Get a lot of sleep. Eat food. Exercise. See a therapist if you need to. Go for a walk. Show up to things. Say no when you need to. Apply to shows and residencies. Present your work as professionally as you can possibly afford to. Only apply to things that your work fits into. Look at the jurors. Do you think they should see your work even if you're not accepted? Try not to get into too much debt and find community. That's from Kaya Lucas in Oakland, California. And then this is Erin Mitchell from Berlin, Germany. This is just part of Erin's, but it says, great art is a product of great empathy. Show yourself love and empathy first. There are no rules, so you get to redefine what matters to you and how you want to move within the systems that be, whether that's working with them or overthrowing them. As an undergrad, I wanted structure. I wanted someone to share with me the formula for making it work. As a working artist, I realize now that my life, my livelihood, and my studio projects defy existing structures, so I had to make my own. Again, that's Erin Mitchell from Berlin. Go to work every day, even if you don't feel like you have anything to make. Carve out a few hours or some space to let something happen. Even play with the dumb ideas. No art to make? Do or learn something you've always wanted to do while you're in your studio. There's no right way to be an artist. Also say yes to things. You don't know where they might lead you. I've said yes to doing shows and then been disappointed and feeling like it was a waste of my time, but then suddenly it moved me to do way better things and gave me unexpected connections. After trying a lot of things out in the beginning and saying yes to a lot and pushing yourself, you'll learn what you want to be a part of and what you're looking for in experiences. That's from Sharon Tofik in San Diego. Just a couple more. I want to reiterate what many others here have said. Read a lot. Do a lot. Be uncomfortable a lot. Take your time, but also finish. Learn skills to pay your way. Learn skills that'll make you welcome everywhere you go in the world. Work with people, places, and environments that help you expand. Work, 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 but take care of yourself. Give back as much as is comfortable, then give some more. Figure out a healthy diet and some form of exercise that doesn't cost too much. Document everything. Tune the mind by changing habits or practice every few years. People love it if you're an artist and you know how to draw. And it's unrealistic to expect that any art you make out of glass will outlast your life. That's from Phil Ross in San Francisco. So sorry to my glass people, you are going to break that thing. It's just what happens. And then the last one is, this is just a portion of this one, but be generous. Share information. Recommend others for things. And always introduce people to each other. Don't be afraid to reach out to people you admire, but start with a compliment. Never follow a trend and be yourself. It can be lonely, but all the greats were unique. And that's from Serena Cole in Nevada City, California. So reading over some of those things, I was like, gosh, what's my advice? And I came up with sort of a two-pronged thing that I want to leave the two of you with. The first one is actually courtesy of Austin Pratt, who I said to my class yesterday, "Are you scared?" And that just reminded me, like, that actually is my advice. Like, be fearless. There are not a lot of things that you can choose to do with your life that require more guts than being an artist. So don't be scared. You're going to have ideas and you're going to have people look at you sort of funny and silly and not always understand you or value what you're doing in the way that you instantly hoped that they would. And you just can't be scared. So that's one thing that I would say to both of you is it takes guts to do this, and I think both of you have tremendous guts, and I'm really proud of you for that. And then the second thing, my last two-prong advice thing, is never forget this. These people in this place is like a forever thing for having navigated this experience with these people. Even if you're not best friends with everyone to the point that you're like talking on the phone a ton when you get out of this place, this is the team. This is the crew forever and ever. And you're going to find yourself saying these people's names. They're going to say yours. Never forget this place. Never forget this space. And like really hold on with both hands to everything that this experience was, because we'll be thinking about you long after you've moved on and done wonderful things. And so keep thinking about your peers and support them in that same way. And as a team, as a community, there's only really beautiful things ahead. So congratulations.
In the drama that is the changing of the microphone, we'll go back up. This is an event in itself. So the last time I gave a speech at a graduation, it was 9 years ago. I was the Sierra Nevada College valedictorian. And everything I remember about that day was thinking, don't trip, as I walked up to the stage. That's it. I've got nothing else. I'm happy to report I'm fairly more grounded and confident since then, but definitely still trip just as often. So this was the perfect distance to come to the stage. Anyways, Mary and Sarah, there was a lot of things that I could talk about, and I feel like some of us are probably quite tired of talking about how our world has changed in the last 2 years, but I think it's really important because that's been the time that Mary and Sarah have been with us. They started the program in our last residency that was held in person before COVID shut down the country and then the world. They began with us in these last glimpses of the before times. And then they proceeded to complete their midway online and have just completed an in-person thesis. And if their trajectory were a sandwich, you know, like the bread is this like wonderful in-person, buzzing, creative, juicy time, and the meat is this kind of weird, ethereal, kind of lonely, mitigated through computer screens, introspective time. And I know that those influences are present in their work, and maybe Mary's a little bit more explicitly, but Sarah's is there too, you know? Her work holds the residue of these shifts and these changes and the introspection, the observation. And there's been a rallying call through these times, through these last 2 years, to be adaptable, to be flexible. And nothing is what we believe it to be, and nothing should be taken for granted. We plan for all the things that could be, and then we scrap them when, you know, the time comes. We recalibrate based on what lies before us and what shifts beneath our feet. There's a magic that takes place when we solve problems, when we learn to see only what is before us, not what we believe to be there. Artists often have this ability because they've been taught it from their very first drawing class, right? We are taught not to draw a chair, but the lines and shapes that make up the chair, right? We learn these tricks to short circuit assumptions. We draw the negative space around the chair. We draw the chair upside down. We draw the chair without looking at our paper or lifting our pen. We simply observe and then respond. Living in extreme capitalism, right, so much value is placed on our ability to produce. And here, while we do ask you to produce work, and special shout out, you know, to our midways and thesis students, you get a little extra of that production expectation. We also hope that we get to celebrate the process. That the process of observing and responding, the time to learn how to evaluate the present and envision a future, a better future. And I want to remind our graduates, as well as our students and our loved ones, that a Master's of Fine Arts is a terminal degree. And for those of you unfamiliar with this kind of elitist academic jargon, right? A terminal degree is a term used to describe the highest degree possible in a related discipline. And there's this assumption that the highest degree possible is a PhD, a doctorate of some sort. And this is not so for the arts, right? We're a little special over here. And I'm sure there's many reasons for that, but one of the ones that I really like to think about is that an MFA assumes and even mandates that you keep doing stuff, right? Like this stuff, the making, the questions, the investigations, the failing, right? The lifelong learning is what qualifies you for that terminal degree. It's not hours spent in a graduate research lab, sterile and away from the world. Instead, it is going out into the world. It's the experiences after leaving here that prepare you for that and continually make you ready, continually engaging you in the process of observing and responding. Graduation marks a bittersweet moment for those of us in academia. The joy and pride that we have for our graduates is only slightly shadowed by the truth that they will be departing from the program. But Ashley did a really good call out that you're never fully gone. And if we believe that this conversation can only happen now with these people in this place at this time, then graduation is a harbinger of shifting conversations. And as someone who appreciates the predictable, I'm not always down with those changes, but I can respect it. So I'm honored to be here, now rooted in this community, celebrating with all of you, wishing our graduates, Mary and Sarah, the very best on their journeys away from us. And I congratulate you, our winter 2022 Sierra Nevada University Masters of Fine Arts in Interdisciplinary Arts class. I had to write that all down. Like, it's really long. Congratulations. And I often start my 16-week undergrad courses with a quote by James Baldwin, and I've decided to end with it today, and it is just as much for the graduates as it is for all of us. The world is before you, and you need not take it or leave it as the way you came in. Before I leave the podium, I would like to invite up Kristen. She'll be talking to us a little bit about our graduation gift this time around. For those of you unfamiliar, the graduation gift is a tradition that started with the program. We invite an artist who's worked with the program to create a series of work. There's a piece for each of the graduates and then a piece for the program. And so we have this beautiful collection that the program holds of kind of these iterations of all of our graduates, but then has these really distinct and beautiful memories that links these classes together. So, Kristen.
Okay, hello everyone. It's been really great getting to know you all these last 10 days. So exciting to see the shows. I am going to be talking about Anna Davidson, who taught some of you when the program was virtual. I actually went to grad school with Anna, so I know her work pretty well in that 2-year span that we were together. There's two things about Anna's work that I think are really connected to this program. One is this connection to science and observation and maybe surveillance, whether it be mold or all these things I think link to y'all's thesis show. And then also this aspect of community, which I have just a really quick little anecdote that I think is a nice thing to think about at graduation time. One of Anna's pieces that she made during grad school, which was my absolute favorite piece she made, was she grew these tubes of mushrooms encased in velvet, and the mushrooms would like pop out of it, and they were really beautiful, and this interesting dialogue between nature and money and all these things. But then after she showed the piece, she harvested the mushrooms and cut them all up and had this big spaghetti dinner with everyone in the program. We just like sat in the backyard, and it was this beautiful night in Davis. And I think that's such a nice thing to sort of hold and think about in terms of this program and all of you together and what you leave with. So that's a little bit about Anna's practice, and she asked us to read a quote about the pieces. This is the piece she gifted the program. So I'm going to read a quote really quickly that is from Mount Analog by René Dumont from 1952, and it says, "Alpinism is the art of climbing mountains by confronting the greatest dangers with the greatest prudence. Art is used here to mean the accomplishment of knowledge in action. You cannot always stay on the summits. You have to come down again. So what's the point? Only this. What is above knows what is below. What is below does not know what is above. While climbing, take note of all of the difficulties along your path. During the descent, you will know that they are there if you have observed them carefully. There is an art to finding your way in the lower regions by the memory of what you have seen when you were higher up. When you can no longer see, you can at least still know." So that's the quote she gave us to frame the work a little. And then from Anna's own words, she said, enjoy these sculptures inspired by time, icebergs, volcanoes, forests, and their sublime energy. Embrace the day you graduate, but end your night in the studio. A great way to leave it. So I'm going to now hand it back over to Russell. Woo!
Thank you, Kristen, and thank you, Anna. As you were speaking, it again reminded me of kind of our community that extends to the elsewhere, right? Both alumni, faculty who participate and come in and out at a rhythm that each one is different. And so do try to hold sort of in your imagination in this process for these two, the extended community and the extended community of alumni that we're about to join. So I get to do this really cool part, which is to give Anna's gift and the customary flower crowns and confer the degree in as much as we can confer it, knowing that they show up at the end of the term. So what I'm going to do is call each of them up one at a time. We will get the gift. We'll place a crown. We will clap a lot. We'll go back. And then I'll say one other thing, which is this sort of program-specific degree gesture that we always do. And I kind of like its redundancy in a way. And I think it's beautiful. So, Mary Jays. Okay. Sarah Logan, approach the podium. And I was told this one was even harder to play, so I'm really glad. We're going to go all the way kind of like that. Now I'm going to keep my hat like that. All right. I need my glasses for this part. So I think I do want to also just, we get to have dinner, we get to go back over and see the show. We've had like our critical conversations about the show, both independently and as a group. The conversations, especially the group one that everybody gets to participate in, I just thought was lovely. The individual ones were academic and rigorous and present and great. But I in particular, I just love being in the space the other morning and having a conversation with everybody. And the earning, like the fact that you have earned your degree is beautiful and fantastic. And it's like no one goes through any program with attention, without attention to those details one would want to change, how to push on the edges of things, how to define what they are. And I remember Mary coming in before entering the program to one of the undergrad shows and walking out afterwards together and talking and conversations with Sarah about like how teaching might sort of weave its way into her time in the program. And anyway, it's just the specificity of what you bring is great. I also want to mention, like, it's a side note, it's not exactly, but I also know it's like Dennis was part of your cohort. And I think it's really beautiful that Dennis has re-entered the program as you're finishing. And I know from my conversations with Dennis, it was in part to honor where you were all in the program. So I think that's really actually very, very cool. So in addition to the very real work in earning your degree, we do in our MFA program grant another degree, and it's the degree of the point. And the degree of in the degree of the point, it's as like some schools have charters and stuff, we have a logo, right? And that logo has to do with a periscope that turns you into turns one's view shed or something into a one-point perspective system. And what you do in graduating, you get to be one of the dots in our constellation, which bumps up into Austin's exhibition or ideas that sort of flow through. And so it's a serious thing. It's like sort of joked around about it a little bit, but it's a very serious part of the process of this community. And so I will read. In addition to your MFA-IA degree, in keeping with our program's logo, we would also like to bestow the degree of a point. You are now massless, and you can go anywhere you would like instantly. Congratulations. And Austin will come up now to close us out. Thanks, Austin.
All right, y'all. One more time. Let's just close it out. Thank you all again, and endless and massive congratulations, Mary and Sarah. This is a significant point, and I love our kind of funky homespun graduation ceremony. I feel like there's something more significant and more meaningful. And I hope that you two feel the same, and it's been a great thrill and privilege and honor to get to work with you over the last 2 years. Massive congratulations, and I'm so looking forward to seeing what you're up to next. Some housekeeping. Dinner is at 7 o'clock, which is coming up shortly. It will be downstairs, so let us celebrate Sarah and Mary. We'll have some dinner in a few minutes, and then we will head to the Tahoe Gallery down the hill, and have one celebratory experience in the gallery of seeing their work that they put together this week. Lastly, coming back up the hill or sticking around campus, there is the tent exhibition of the core students. Very, very cool. Cannot be understated. Supremely cool work that was made this week, and again in the Streamline Gallery in the driveway, open all night until we start having to rip the tent apart. So again, thank you all so much, and let's have a wonderful and safe night.